Hey, True Believers, Eglantine here. I didn't know you guys were waiting. Oh my gosh. Hey, I was going to do a whole thing about Jack Kirby tonight. I was going to invite everybody on, and I started doing the thumbnail. And they say you got to work on the thumbnail really well. So what I did was I found an artist outline of the Jack Kirby thing. He's kind of sitting here, and so I started, okay, I think that's a great image. I'm going to put that on the thumbnail, but I want to surround Jack Kirby with all of his characters. At least the bigger ones, right? It's Jack Kirby's birthday, by the way, for those of you who are not in the know also. Twiddles, the world twiddles. But the thing is, I got so caught up and I actually forgot that, holy crap, I really do need to get started with this. I haven't even invited anybody or shared. I came over here and I was like, wait a second, maybe people are waiting. Maybe, I don't know if I activated anything. And I saw that, yep, some of you guys are in the chat. I haven't read anything. So let me see. I'm sending this to Twitter. Are we going to do a Kirby live stream? It's MARANYA. Yes, we are. As a matter of fact, if you want to jump on, I'm sending the invitations out right now. Here you go. If you guys want to jump on in, I thought it might be actually kind of fun just to talk about comic books, talk about his better creations, his worst creations, if you feel so inclined. Because okay, hold on just a second. I just hit something and sound has gone all over the place. But yeah, I just got so caught up in the thumbnail. I absolutely forgot that there's actually a show to go with it. It's really kind of fun putting this together. I wonder if I, excuse me. And then I set up this big thing and I thought, oh no, I've got to rearrange the characters. So I was erasing everything. Whoops. Because it was like I put everything together and I looked at it and went, that is a really good thumbnail. But I forgot Silver Surfer. And if there's one character, two characters actually, as far as Jack Kirby, it's Galactus and Silver Surfer. Because of how little was ever written about. First of all, Silver Surfer was completely Jack Kirby's design and creation. The whole thing is that if Galactus was supposed to be God, he had to have an angel, had to have herald, so forth and so on. So Jack Kirby went and created this Silver Surfer, and Stan Lee thought he was freaking nuts because here's this bald character with barely any features carrying a surfboard. So alas, the Silver Surfer was born. Oh, and by the way, for those of you not in the know, it's also MARANYA's birthday. Mm-hmm. Oh, whoa, hold on there, bird. For some reason, he hates bottles, and he will attack them quite a bit. Yeah. Alrighty. But I'm sorry, I was a little bit late. I did throw out the invitation, so hopefully the gang will jump on. Let's see, Original Origins. Happy birthday to Jack. I'm very curious what you guys must have been saying while I'm sitting here doing my thing. Hello to, okay, nobody's calling me out too much. That's cool. Hello, Xena. Hello to Robert Roberts. Yeah, that's what a lot of people forget about him. Great characters, a lot more. There's tons of characters to pick from. And where do you put them? I actually just ended up putting, instead of Thor, Captain America, and all that, just the Avengers. Of course, that's a team, but it's a team of the characters he created anyway. Dumbass bird, come on. All righty, let's see. Today, some people think everyone must love all their new characters. Yeah. Unfortunately, Marvel has spent the last 10 years really trying to erase Jack Kirby. I don't know if that's, I don't think they said, hey, you know what we should do? We should erase Jack Kirby. But they might have. If you ever get a chance, this is one of the books I was looking at today. I'm rereading some things. I've got two books on Jack Kirby. There's far more out there, by the way, but I do recommend you reading them. As a matter of fact, I actually recommend everybody, if you're into comics, take a little bit, buy a book like this, Jack Kirby, King of Comics, and learn the history. There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. This is basically the story of Jack Kirby, and it's told with a hell of a lot of illustrations. And I forgot what I was I forgot what I things I learned while reading about Jack Kirby. That's what I was going to title it. And then as I was doing the thumbnail, I thought, no, I'm going to let's talk about his best and worst creations and so forth and so on. But some things I learned by reading these, first of all, and this is the most important thing to understand about Jack Kirby more than anything. He is a family man born of the Depression. That right there sets the tone for his entire career. He grew up poor and ended up having to go to work, and he delivered newspapers, does whatever job he can take in order to help his family. You know, his dad worked, he worked. They made sure that the family had some sort of food on the table, but he always drew. He was an artist from the very beginning, and he found out that he could sell his art, yada, 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 into comics. The thing is for as great as an artist he was, and I understand some, even not myself, when I was younger, I always thought, wait, he draws everything like boxy, you know? I always thought that. Later, I kind of really started to appreciate the art of Jack Kirby. But he sold his art, and the thing is for as great of an artist as he was a horrible businessman, and he was always panicked because he was born of the Depression and he was a family man. And more than anything else that Jack Kirby had to do was to make sure there was food on the table. He was always afraid that the jobs would dry up. The one person who didn't know Jack Kirby was Jack Kirby was Jack Kirby. He had, it's like even after he created all that he did, he still felt he was this close to being fired. And for a little bit, he was. I kid you not. I know I'm going all over the place. I'm not doing any kind of talking about I wish Eric was here, man. Seriously. Somebody get a hold of Breen. He needs to be in here. Or Paolo. I need another historian in here. I actually pride myself on knowing history of comics. I really do, of what I know and what I can remember. But I think it's me and then Eric and then Paolo. So there you go. But that's just me. Let's see. Today's okay. I read that one. Only heard rumors, but was he not a grizzly old war veteran? He was, as a matter of fact. Yes, he did go to fight the Nazis. What is Marvel treating Jack Kirby like Vince Colletta used to treat his pencils when inking them? Sacrilege. Yes. Now, here's something else I learned from this book about Vince Colletta. Part of the problem of working with somebody like Jack Kirby is Jack Kirby drew very intricate designs and so forth and so on. Vince Colletta cut out background elements and so forth that Jack Kirby put in there. He did it for time. Jack Kirby was a freaking workhorse. Jack Kirby makes me disrespect Marvel, modern Marvel artists or modern artists who are like, oh my gosh, I can't finish that book in time. Jack Kirby sitting there drawing like 50 freaking books at a time. I'm exaggerating by about that much. But he would just freaking put out just tons and tons of content. And nowadays it's like, oh my gosh, we need 4 artists because we're doing a monthly. It's, yeah. Stuff on my face will be there in a bit. Well, at this rate, I feel like I'm like rushing everything here, so I may actually be done by the time you get here. Yeah, let's see. Kind of reminds me of the old troop. The guy looks mean and nasty, but was the town toy maker. Jack Kirby. Although there's no account of him being mean and nasty. He did get a little bit miffed because he started hearing what we're hearing today. Stan Lee created the Marvel Universe. Stan Lee created the Marvel, everything. Be it Fantastic Four or the Hulk or Thor. It was Stan Lee. Stan Lee created everything. If you have yourself some time, there's 2 versions of this. One is broken up into 3 parts, and one is everything collected. My brother, when he was on this channel, by my request, I thought that was awesome because he was looking for something big to do. And I said, here's what you're going to do. You're going to do the history of Jack Kirby, and you're going to do it in 3 parts. You're going to do Golden Age. You're going to do Marvel. You're going to, 4 parts. You're going to do DC, and then you're going to do Jack Kirby versus Stan Lee. And by the way, it's like, oh, okay, this chapter got 2,000 views. This chapter got 3,000 views. This one maybe 4. The Stan Lee versus Jack Kirby video is now up to like 30,000 views. So that's very thank you very much for everybody who clicked on that. That's awesome. But if you haven't checked it out, go to the video section, look for Jack Kirby. You'll find all the chapters. You'll even find the one that we combined everything. It's something I'm most proud of. Some people say, well, we lean one way or the other. That's up to you to decide. There you go. Anyway, if Kirby had paid for a lawyer, his grandkids would be billionaires now. That is a true fact. He was really, one of the things about him being a family man and a child born of the Depression, he was afraid to stir the apple cart. He didn't want to piss off Marvel because Marvel was the one who paid him. And if he pissed off Marvel, they would fire him. And what was he going to do? Nowadays, he would freaking kick in an Indiegogo, and we would be like, oh my gosh, here you go. Yeah. But that is absolutely true. He was afraid to upset the apple cart, although he did quit Marvel and he went over to DC, and unfortunately was not well received. There were people who respected him there, but there were also people who, while they respected him, understood that he was old school. He was not doing what the modern kids wanted. So it was like, oh my gosh, I love your work. Okay, Grandpa, you sit right there and you do your thing, and we're going to go over here and we're going to do our thing. And, we'll see who fits. And oh yeah, New Gods. Oh, that's so nice. Let me hang it up on the fridge here. That's so cute. Yeah. Okay. Oh, boss, here's the first issue of Claw, all the while that he was being treated like that. He was creating the fourth world, which sold okay. But later, of course, Darkseid's the main villain of DC. I like Mr. Miracle of old. I'm not a big fan of what happened last year. We're asking, what was his first creation? Now, I would have to look that up, but I do know his first professional comic book work, at least with Joe Simonson, is a book called Blue Bolt. I believe I did a comic book origin of it on this channel. It's really, really bad. I wish I could say better things about it, but go check out that. You'll see his first creation. It is something. By the way, I do believe that's also public domain on Digital Comics Museum if you want to read it. And I do recommend, if you ever really want to delve into the history of comics and not just books like this, which once again, highly recommend, go to Digital Comics Museum, start somewhere. You'll see some great and some really horrible, awesome comics. And I mean that. I mean, I've read some bad comics. I'm just having a freaking blast reading them too. Let's see. That's what happened with Bob Kane. His cousin, the lawyer, got him an amazing sweet deal. Yeah. Hey, you bring somebody in, you say, yeah, you know what? You want to buy Superman for $150? How about instead we do this? I mean, these people, they felt beholden to the comic book companies, even though the comic book companies needed their creations. It was very weird because it really was It really, what am I trying to say? It really was kind of a third world sort of situation with the boss. There's actually, I think it was Weisinger. I need someone's help on this one. Mort Weisinger was the Marvel guy. Hey, what's up? Who actually would walk up and down, and he's like, okay, everybody get to work. So that was actually a thing in comics. That was actually a thing when they first started. Marvel had some underhanded tactics, like things printed on the back of checks, which endorsed, signed the creators' rights away effectively. Yeah, I heard about that. And as a matter of fact, that went, that actually came up in the 80s. And a lot of people know John Byrne's famous for saying, it's work for hire, stop your bitching and get back to work. While a lot of people are like, bullshit, if we create the characters, we should also have a piece of the pie, which nowadays pretty much how it's more towards that than it is. What are you freaking doing? You crazy. Don't you shit on my head. Don't. Okay. I looked like the freaking bus driver in South Park. Let's see. Kirby's first comic was The Romance of Money. It was produced by him in 1937. Well, thank you for that information there, MARANYA. Appreciate it. Okay, why don't you go outside the room? You have the entire... I opened the house. You have the entire house to fly around in. Come here. Come here. It's okay. All righty. There you go. Just sit on the wrist. It's fine. Shh. He's all straightened up, by the way. When a bird's straightened up like this, they're a little bit more on alert. Now he's kind of getting a little more relaxed. See, he's getting a little more puffy. Yeah, that's him being a little bit more relaxed. Okay. Of course, he's a little bit tense, and that's why he's starting to bite around. There you go. There you go. Okay. And hello to Mr. Eric Breen. How you doing?
Full.
Well, that's a good way to be, I guess. Are we going to be blessed with your lovely visage?
Possibly at some point.
Okay.
Although it will never be lovely again.
It looks better on the playback when people are seeing those 30 seconds. That's why.
Nice.
Yeah, there we go. All right. So yeah.
Go to the small thing then, so you can't see all my chins.
Oh my God, you are such a diva. There you go. All righty. He is a diva. Wants to be on camera.
I'm the one that said I didn't want to be on camera.
No, they're talking about the bird. They're talking
he is a diva.
Yeah. He wants to know he's getting the attention right. Let's see. Who would you say are the 3 most popular comic characters currently? Well, we're steering towards Jack Kirby, but Batman, Spider-Man, and Superman are probably the top 3. And I got to say, you're about right there, MK.
I'm not sure Superman's even in the top 3 anymore, at least currently.
Well, I think as far as brand recognition.
Oh, yeah. Brand recognition, that'll never change. It'll be those 3 and Wonder Woman.
But you mean, but if you talk about like comic books sold, I don't think he's enjoyed that since the 80s and maybe even further back than that. Because we have the X-Men and all sorts of stuff like that taken over then. But as far as just brand recognition, yeah, I would say Batman, Spider-Man, and Superman. Because it was definitely Spider-Man that made Marvel.
Yeah, like I said, if you had a Mount Rushmore for, your characters, your pop culture saturation, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I think it's the Trinity and Spider-Man.
Yep.
Because those are 4 characters that everybody knows, even if you've never read a comic book, hell, or if you've never even seen a movie.
Yeah. Like even before the Marvel Universe, like a lot of people would put Captain America up there, but if you haven't seen the movies, you wouldn't know Captain America as much as you would Wonder Woman, Batman, or Superman. And definitely Spider-Man is the big kid at the table as far as Jack Kirby's or Marvel's concerned. But here you go. Top 3 most famous Jack Kirby. What do you think? Because Spider-Man's off the list now, kids.
Captain America. I'm going to count the Fantastic Four as one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, even though he didn't create him because he is a Norse,
right. Thor. You think Thor? Yeah. Yeah. The only other one I would put up against it is the Hulk. Really. That's the only one that's missing off that list as far as that he would be. I think Hulk and Thor might be interchangeable.
Actually, I would probably thinking about that. I might actually put Hulk ahead of Thor.
Yeah,
because if nothing else, one way you can tell if a character has really made it is if they're on the cover of a magazine that has nothing to do with comics. The Hulk was on the cover of Rolling Stone
and TV Guide.
Well, that's a long list.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman was on the cover of Ms. Magazine. Superman was on the cover of Time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Batman was on the cover. I know he was on Look when during the Adam West series, but I'm sure he's been on a mainstream cover, and Spider-Man was on the cover of Cream magazine of all things. So like I said, there's never been a Captain America on a mainstream cover, not even when he died.
That is information I am just learning. Let's see. We got Kirby is the best from Frank Robert. Let's see. Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman, Spider-Man have all been on TV at one point or another. Some more successful than others. Let's see. Speaking of Jack Kirby, I wonder, does Eric have that Jack Kirby book set? Came out a few weeks ago. I think it had New Gods, Fantastic Four, and 2 others in the bundle pack.
I probably have the stories somewhere in this mess, but no, I didn't get the actual books.
Oh, shoot. I needed that open. I'm still making that thumbnail. I just got caught up in it. I was ready to start at 10 o'clock. Then I was like, okay, I'll start at 10:30, and then just kind of lost it. Very proud of it. So whenever it's published, let me see some. I want to look for something on Amazon because I want to show you guys. I mean, you talk about Jack Kirby books and everything. I've got a wish list, and it's a Fourth World Omnibus. But it is just, it looks so gorgeous. Here it is. Let me share it out. It's just something when I saw it, I was like, yep, that's on my wish list. It's this right here. Absolute Fourth World by Jack Kirby. This is the 2nd volume. But this, I'm trying to, there you go.
I'm guessing that's the one that has Demon, Commandy, OMAC, and things like that.
Yeah, well, it is. It says Fourth World.
Oh, well, the first omnibus had everything from the first. Yeah,
it collects Kirby's entire runs of the New Gods, Forever People, Mr. Miracle, Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen. So it's
basically just it's another pressing of what they did about 5 years ago.
They also had they have Absolute #1 here as well. God, these are gorgeous. They really are just gorgeous freaking books. And this one had let's see, Superman's pal 133 to 139, 141 to 148, New Gods 1 through 11, Forever People 1 through 11, Mr. Miracle 1 through 18, and New Gods #4 and DC graphic novel #4. So good stuff. Good stuff, not cheap.
That the graphic novel was, you know what that is, right? That's the Hunger Dogs. It was,
okay.
Kirby went back and put the finish on his saga that he wanted.
All righty. That is something to look out for.
It's not hard to find.
Okay. But that sounds pretty cool. So, okay, I was like I said, at first I'm talking about the history of Jack Kirby, the things I learned while reading about Jack Kirby. You had this book. You had 2, so you sent me one. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. What is it? Is there anything in here that kind of surprised you?
I read. I don't think I ever finished it. and even if I did, I stuff doesn't stick in my head. So no, I mean, I said nothing leaps right to mind.
That was like I said, that was one of the things that really got to me. The treatment of Jack Kirby by the comic book industry. Not by the fans, not by us. We love Jack Kirby. To marvel of all freaking entities, Jack Kirby was a pain in the ass. Jack Kirby was somebody who kept butting in and saying he created or helped to create the Marvel Universe. And Marvel hated that because it would have been just one more person that they would have to pay like they pay Stan Lee. And Jack Kirby actually said, yo, Stan, stand up for me. What you doing? You have the ear of management. Why are you not helping a brother out?
I don't think he did as much as Jack thought, because if you remember, when they sold the company to Cadence Industries, Martin Goodman pushed for them to. He thought part of the deal was that his son would get Marvel, but Cadence insisted on Stan.
Well,
so Martin Goodman was such a cutthroat that I think he would have gotten rid of Stan, in a heartbeat if he could have, done it if it had been a way to save money doing it.
See, that was part two of what I was about to say. Stan said, dude, I don't have the influence you think I have. And Jack Kirby never really believed him because Stan was getting more money for his creations than Jack Kirby was getting for his. But once again, it goes back to he didn't bring a lawyer, and Jack Kirby never understood he was Jack Kirby. That was something. And I get it. That kind of explains to why a lot of people who've met him thought he was a really nice guy, kind of humble for what he did in his industry. And he is truly one of the people who have changed the industry. And, but he never understood that, and it worked against him. He was also instrumental in the creation of a book called Destroyer Duck, which I'm sure a lot of you have not heard of, but kind of, in my opinion, it actually holds value in the history of comic books, because Destroyer Duck was about the way that comic book artists and writers are treated by the companies that hired them. It was Steve Gerber, the creator of Howard the Duck, wanted to get more. He basically wanted Howard the Duck back, and he at the very least he wanted more say over what happened with Howard the Duck. And of course Marvel said, so he went and he made a book called Destroyer Duck to kind of tell everybody the true story of what's going on with the comics and the comic book creators that they love. It also is the first appearance of Gru, but that was the historical. So there's I could pick off that bird with these. But that's basically it. That's one of those books that probably not a lot of people have read, that I think are kind of important to the history of comics.
It's funny though that when we talk about the way Marvel treated their creators, it ends up being a bunch of conservatives turning into bleeding heart liberals.
Yeah,
because you could say they treated these guys poorly, but you could say that about workers at any business.
Yeah.
The only difference is these guys were on a creative end, and they produced something that we love.
Well,
but again, in those days, you did hire yourself. You hired yourself out to work for you. You get hired. You produce work. You get paid, and it's like your factory workers don't get a percentage of the cars that they make when they're sold.
Right.
And I mean, if you want to make it as cutthroaty as that, there you go.
Well,
Now,
yeah, of course, being a creator though, and you create a character, it's used over and it's used over and over and over and over again.
I understand that.
Yeah, that this isn't for a one-time sale go kind of thing, but that was actually John Byrne's thing when it was brought up. There was actually, I gotta go in, I gotta read it again. It was in the History of Marvel, that book, somewhere around here. Alrighty, where did I put it? Where to put it? There it is. Okay, if you get a chance, read Marvel Comics: The Untold Story. In here, it does say that Jim Shooter just basically said, "Look, there's been a lot of grumblings, but you signed a contract, yada yada, and from here on in, we're going to tighten the reins on this because we got Marvel and DC were not doing very well. DC doing a little bit less, but Marvel and DC before Marvel Comics before Jim Shooter jumped on was not doing as great as they could have been. And one of the things he said is we're going to cut back on the royalties and so forth and so on. And yeah, John Byrne said, look, you sign a contract, man. Everything is owned by Marvel Comics. You live with it, deal with it. And that was one of the things that just, of course, made John Byrne. And a lot of people said, yeah, I don't like you. I can pick off the bird with these. I've got at least one of a page from Destroyer Duck, says Frank Robert. Destroyer Duck was a big middle finger to Marvel and their treatment of Steve Gerber. The best bit of larceny, says MARANYA, in that series was during the crossover with Destroyer Duck and Howard the Duck. The Howard in the current continuity is not the original Howard. That is true. They let Steve Gerber go back and write a few issues, and I forget the whole story at this point, but he actually made it so real Howard is out of the universe, and what Marvel has is fake Howard. It's a great story. I love the history of comics.
Yeah, Steve Gerber was also, he was a very creative guy. I don't know if he went to his grave remembering any of it because he was constantly drug-addled. Which probably helped create characters like Howard the Duck and the Man-Thing. One
thing this tells you in the middle section, right around here, it's like, holy, were we high during the 1970s creating everything?
I know Steve Gerber did not create Man-Thing, but I'm just saying that I'm sure. I forget who did. It's always Len Wein created Swamp Thing, if I'm not mistaken, and then one of his roommate at the time. But anyway, so the comic book industry kept a tight rein on their properties and treated the people that created them like work for hire, which technically that's what they were. Well, now creators have rights and they get to keep their characters, and that's great. But if you're a fan of the big two, it also means you're never going to get anything worth a damn again. You're going to get derivatives. I said it's like the old days of a search engine on your computer. By the time you got to page 3 or 4, it was nothing like what started. So now you get the 7th Wolverine, the 87th Spider-Man character, and nobody's going to create anything that they don't get to keep, and you still don't get to keep your characters at Marvel and DC. So no one's going to. The creativity is gone. That's why you see the same events recycled, the same ideas, and it's just
Yeah, please, can we have Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths? Or Venom Lethal Protector? Wow, whenever was that done, Eric?
And these characters, and these creators, some of them go on to create pretty memorable characters. How much more memorable would they be if they were part of the Marvel or DC universe?
DC, yeah.
So that's the unintended consequences of something that the fans said, give the creators their rights. Oh man, my books have sucked for years now because there's everything.
But even if they, I think if Marvel and DC had kind of loosened the reins a little bit, maybe put in you own 20%. Go on, Bird. Do not do.
Okay. Can I dispel that?
Go on ahead. Yeah, please, by all means.
Image. Those guys were getting, their share. They were getting their share of royalties and everything because they worked that out. it still didn't stop him from leaving.
Yeah, but that's also if you read the history of Image Comics, and by the way, we were there. So if you were reading the magazines, you were reading the history in real time. McFarlane wanted ownership over Spider-Man. I remember at one point in time, he was pissed because the people promoting the books didn't talk to him about how to promote Spider-Man. It's like, who the f are you, Todd? Come on. You know, if you think this, go freaking create your own company. And he did.
Yeah, well,
that man's like, oh, yeah, I do comics too, right? Okay, toys here. Anybody? Toys here. Yeah. God bless him for it too. He said he wanted to be in action figures, and he creates some of the freaking best.
Well, he grew up, and he's one of the few people in the industry now that cares about comics and the fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's probably why Spawn is doing so much better than it has been for years.
And one of the things, of course, that we don't get are, we just don't get comic book artists and writers that care about the fans. All right, let me get some comments here. Hindsight is always 20/20. I should never have sold my FF1 for $1,000. Gee, Eric, do you have a story like that?
I sold FF1 and Daredevil for $80 for the pair to get contact lenses. So I don't want to hear any whining about only getting $1,000.
I told my wife, by the way, because she was looking. She goes, I can't believe I'm married to a 50-year-old man who's got comics on his wall. I said, thank you for saying I'm only 50. Yeah, but she was looking and she asked me, how much is that wall worth? And I said, well, not what I paid for, but what I would probably say. And I went through the prices, it's coverless. So the first appearance of Zatanna is probably worth about $50-$60. The Incredible Hulk 102 is it's probably in its condition only worth about $120, $130. And the Power Girl, first appearance Power Girl, is only worth about $150, $200. And she's like, and I said, no, I'm not selling. Yeah, I said, because in all honesty, it's harder to find these comics than it is $150. So she actually understood when I put it that way. For $80 for contact lenses, I got the bridge.
I mean, it was 1986 when I did.
Oh, okay. See, yeah, all righty, yeah.
But it was still a good deal for Jerry.
In the 1980s, before the big Silver Age boom, I actually went through and I was buying all these books, and I didn't actually know what I was going for. It wasn't like I was going, oh, I want to get the first appearance of him. I want to get the first appearance of that. I just bought Silver Age comics. I would save my lunch money, or I'd make myself a lunch, get lunch money from my parents, and I would save it up, put the bookstore that it would let me put books on layaway. And I went crazy. I actually ended up with Captain America 100 and an Avengers #4 and just some really good books, but they never broke the bank. I don't think I paid more than $20 for some of these. I think the $20 was Avengers #4.
That's what I paid for my Avengers #4 in like 1984.
Yeah. Let's see. And if Jack knew about his artwork would be worth today, he would not have gotten rid of. Actually, here's something that happened with them. Or allowed them to be thrown away. That was one more of the don't upset the apple cart kind of thing. Because at the beginning, he wasn't saying, hey, you need to give me that back. Give it back. Give it back. But after a while, he heard that Marvel executives were selling his fucking art. And there was I forget what it was. Oh, it was a poster. It was a poster of the Hulk that set him off. There's I could do the or kind of thing, but there's a poster of the Incredible Hulk. Jack Kirby had no say in Marvel putting it out there. They didn't pay him for it. And he said, that's it. I want my original art back. I want it back. And Marvel was like, well, technically anything you drew while under contract with us belongs to us. And Jack Kirby said, no. and they had fought back. Jack Kirby was able to retrieve some, but not all of his original art. And yeah, so he fought for that, and he did win that. But what a shitty way to be. Now, of course, once again, it's business. Jack Kirby was not the greatest of business people, and if there was a contract that said everything you make is ours, but thankfully he was able to fight and get some of those some of that artwork back. Let's see. Neither side would want to pay for the rights for the headliner characters of each company. What is this? In MK saying, what if DC and Marvel did another big crossover event? Do you think that would boost DC and Marvel sales? Abso-freaking-lutely, I do. People were expecting it after Thor #2 came out, that Donny Cates run in issue #2. Thor saw streaks, and it looked like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. It were their colors and all that kind of stuff. And they were like, oh my gosh, there's everybody, all the speculators. There's going to be another crossover. Woo!
I'm not sure how well that would go over now because there's so little talent at the two companies and so little historical knowledge of the characters. Not that they need it anymore, but I don't know. I'm sure it would get some buzz. As I said, you and I, like I said, there was a time in the not too distant past where we'd have been genuinely excited for something like that. I wouldn't buy it.
Well, nowadays, of course, I've got the motto: "Be careful what you wish for."
Yeah,
because once again, I thought the making a movie of him was good, and I think anytime you want to bring back the character of Morbius is good. But this is what you're going to get modern day, guys, right there. It ain't going to be. It's not going to be Ed Brubaker writing Morbius. It's not going to be. It's not going to be Chuck Dixon writing Morbius. Now there was a Ralph Macchio a while back, which actually was pretty good. But if you hope for any, oh my gosh, it's going to be Marvel and DC. Who is it going to be written by? Vita Ayala. It's going to be written by somebody like that. Stephanie Phillips. We need a woman's take on this, or something like that. Yeah,
it would probably be somebody the caliber of a Steve Orlando or maybe a Matthew Rosenberg. I don't know who could. I guess you could say Cates possibly, although as we've pointed out, I think if you dropped him into a past era, I think he would just be a good writer.
Okay. Yeah.
And the people that are working the from our day, more or less, like the Peter Davids or something like that, I don't think they would even consider letting them do that.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, the crossovers now would be it would be like modern day racist Mr. Miracle who believes he's put upon, even though he literally goes out in space to do stunts. And then they would team him up with like Captain Marvel, who's going to prove how strong and powerful a woman she is. And then they're gonna, but I'm a black guy, but I'm a woman. Grrr.
To say the first issue would be them exchanging pronouns.
Yeah.
Will you excuse me for a moment, sir?
Of course, sure. Let me get some comments here. Wasn't there a warehouse full of original art pages? I'm not quite sure if it was a warehouse, but there was a bunch. Let's see. Neil Adams did the same thing, retrieving art on the DC side. DC used to throw it out to save space and files. Yeah, just get back to the artist. I'm talking about his golden age art. And, there is a bit of difference. You ever see like Captain America, the way Jack Kirby evolved in his art is kind of amazing because you see Captain America drawn in the original issues. He's very svelte. He's kind of thin. Looks really, it looks good. Don't get me wrong. But if you go and you see Jack Kirby in the 1970s drawing Captain America, and Captain America's a bit more bulky and more Kirby-esque. I'm trying to find a Silver Age or Golden Age that I can maybe compare it to here. Boy Commandos, Champion, Blue Beetle. Yeah, Bird, we know you're out there. But he really did. He really kind of evolved to become a little bit more like what you would think Jack Kirby art is. I can't find the Captain America in here. Here you go. This kind of it illustrates what I'm talking about. If you look at the Guardian and the there you go, because he would be DC's version. There you go. This is such a great book, by the way. Once again, it's called Kirby King of Comics. Highly freaking recommend this. As you can see, it's it does have enough text and such to tell the stories. It's got a lot of freaking art in here, though, and even some notes, kids, from the war. So it's really just an excellent freaking book. If you're oh, hey, this is something that not a lot of people knew about. Things I learned while reading this book. Right here, I never knew this, but look, it's the cover of the comic book called Headline. That's Jack Kirby on the cover of a comic book, and the police officer arresting him is Stan Lee. Never knew that before. Never knew that before. And I thought, wow, that's kind of cool. All right, I want that comic book now. Oh my gosh, it's $50,000. Yes, it's not cheap, by the way. I have no clue what the character is like for the big two, so a crossover wouldn't make any sense to me, says Jackson Raycart. Yeah, I get that. Let's see, Vidi Isla could write about the X-Men and the Justice League going to the bathhouse. Glad I didn't buy books this auction. I don't want that book. Yeah, you're not getting it, Zach. Let's see. In the category of Be Careful What You Wish For, there's going to be a new book with Monica Rambeau. Yeah, I don't know about that. They're probably going to give it to someone who would go, okay, she's a black woman, so let's make it all about her being put upon and being raised. It's going to be, come on. Write somebody who we can aspire to be. You know? It's. I think Ash the other night actually said, I don't want to read a comic book character who's like your neighbor or like you or so forth. I want to read something aspirational. And that would be very nice. Have a good day, Joe Rogers. Take care and be safe. It was not the Hulk originally gray, but changed to green because of something to do with the coloring. No, you a little bit backwards there. He actually was going to be green, and they had a little bit of trouble with the printing, and then he returned to green, or somewhat of that was the idea. But I do know he was originally supposed to be green, and yeah. Anyway. That is a Kirby picture and Stanley. Hey, Sailor, what? Oh, hey, how you doing there? Okay, I'll give you a call, but not right now because doing a show. I did leave a few messages on Facebook. So there you go. Everything's good. Everybody's alive and everybody's fine. By the way, Cheryl Butler, that's my mom. So there you go. Days until Rambo goes lesbian. Eve Ewing is writing Photon. Okay, Eve Ewing was the one who actually wrote Riri Williams okay. So maybe for at least a few issues she wrote them okay. Yeah, the color of Hulk varied from gray to black. It was originally supposed to be gray. Oh, okay, I was wrong. I apologize. Yeah. Give me an aspirational character. Professor Geek has entered the chat. Wait, what? I don't know who. Which one is Professor Geek? The sick, we can't have good horror in comics or adventure horrors. Well, Werewolf by Night by Jeffrey. Something was so bad in 2019. Could not believe on how was not a history was a. I don't know what you're saying there at the end there. Cartoons and comics. Good horror. Actually, Joe Hill did a couple of decent horror books. I know I've been enjoying James Tinian's Beautiful House on the Lake or something like that. There is good horror comics out there. You might not want to look to the big two, though, DC and Marvel. But DC and Marvel are having a hard time producing good comics, period. Let's see. It's Love Professor Geek is a YouTube who loves aspirational. Most people do. I mean, isn't that was one of the big complaints about Man of Steel? He just wasn't inspiring. I mean, that's Superman's gig. That's Superman's thing. Yeah. Doesn't DC have Black Label horror line? I know they've got a Black Label line. I don't know what horror books other than that. I know I liked, what was it? Daphne Byrne was good. The Refrigerator Full of Heads, the first one was good. I liked Plunge, where it was an undersea, but I'm one of those people. I love a good shark story. This wasn't a shark story, but it did deal with sea monsters and stuff like that. I've had a couple of dealings. I'm sorry. Well, we lived on Tampa Bay, and I know the sharks probably gotten bigger and bigger in my mind because I was only like about 5 or 6 at the time. My friends were on a boat, and I started swimming out to get to them because they wouldn't come in and row because, you know, friends are very nice to you, right? And they said, you got to get out. Shark's coming. You know, they saw a shark swimming under the boat. I got onto a rock and I saw this thing. And at this point in time, in my memory, it's freaking Jaws. It's this huge, but I'm pretty sure it was only like a 6-footer or something like that. But I wasn't a 6-footer at the time, so that was still twice my size probably. Let's see. Wanted to ask, have you seen The Samaritan? It is so much fun, ladies and gentlemen. I really enjoyed The Samaritan. I was watching, and one thing that popped in my head was the old guys are showing the new guys how to do it. Because you got Top Gun with Tom Cruise, and you've got Sylvester Stallone doing The Samaritan. It is just a lot of fun. It really is. If you have Netflix, give it a shot. There you go. Monica Rainbow, probably. Let's see. Wait, DC and Marvel are producing horror comics. Sadly, they're called Spider-Man and Superman. Iron Man. Yeah. Seems they've forgotten the 3 S's for superheroes nowadays. Strong, smart, and sexy for both male and female characters. Sword of Azrael is good, I think, by Dan Waters. All right. We got some love for the modern stuff. There's always something good to be found out there, and that's the good thing. And yes, maybe we're a little bit disappointed because Marvel and DC are not producing the books they used to. It's not as cool, and it's not as good. And it's really bad because these are the ones that drew us into comics. More than likely, the only independent comic book that dragged you into comic books would have been Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and that was through the cartoon more often than not. For some of you 90s kids and such. Otherwise, more than likely, you got into this because of your love for Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Captain America, Thor, you know, all sorts like this. And we see the way they're treating it. We see the way they're treating these characters. It's just disappointing. Zeno approves of your praise of Tom Cruise. Hey, you got to admit, it is my second favorite movie of the year, and I've actually taken some shit for it only being second, but I like the Batman. How you doing, Eric?
I'm well, thank you.
All righty, cool. Have you read the new Predator book? Sir, I have not. I have not read that book yet. I don't know. I started reading the comments, and we're a little bit off the Jack Kirby topic right now. So
wait a minute. The original topic has been long discarded.
What? Not long, but yeah, we are here. We are here. No spoilers for the Samaritan. I will not spoil a damn thing, and yes, I will call for it. Let everybody enjoy it the way you did, with as little, well, at least the way I did, with as little knowledge as possible.
I can assure you, sir, you will not get any spoilers from me.
Okay. The original TMT was indeed not for kiddies. You know, I started reading that again. I was very blessed. A friend sent a copy of a copy of the trade paperback for the original. It's like the original 10 issues. God, that's a lot of fun. That book really is a great time. Okay, here I'm gonna steer it back. It's Jack Kirby's birthday. We're talking some Jack Kirby books. What is something you would recommend? I'm asking Eric, but if you've got a favorite, like not just Thor, but if there is something you can kind of narrow in on a few stories that Jack Kirby drew that you would say, this is pinnacle, check that out.
Oh, for me, that 10 or 11 issue period in Fantastic Four, starting at about issue 45 through 53, thereabouts. In 10 issues, we got all the creation of all of the Inhumans, with the exception of Medusa. We got Galactus, Silver Surfer, Black Panther, the this man, this monster. You know, that. I mean, there's you can try to top that for a 10 issue thing. You can't do it.
Yeah, it's a hard one to top. I mean, just 3 issues in that alone is classic. And that, of course, being the Galactus Trilogy. But yeah, the creation of Black Panther, whom, by the way, was more of a scientist than you would think, in his original creation, and the way he took down the Fantastic Four. Some great books there. If I were to just kind of maybe the first 6 issues of Mr. Miracle, I got to point to that. That is some really fun stuff. It, of course, you meet Mr. Miracle, Big Barda, Granny Goodness, a lot of the characters as DC villains today. It is. We read the first issue here. It's a lot of fun, of course. I like his DC stuff. Also, and I know this is me. I know I'm the only one who's going to say this, but Devil Dinosaur. I know I said don't say a time, but this is literally a story 1 through 10. I believe it's 10 issues, but it tells one whole story. I mean, granted, different things happen, but it's very it's got some great continuity throughout it. So it does feel like a 10 issue mini series that has a beginning and end, a beginning, middle, and end. So I would actually recommend Devil Dinosaur. Have you ever read that book?
I actually have not.
I got the trade paperback from Ollie's, and it's a lot of fun. It's got some 70s silliness, as well as the I would say the Silver Age silliness. But yeah, some great freaking stuff.
If I went into my Ollie's and said, "Hey, would you happen to have the Devil Dinosaur trade paperback?" They'd say, "GTFO, we don't have anything you want."
Yeah, my Ollie's is a little bit better than your Ollie's, I think. Although they haven't had anything cool.
And your Ollie's can beat up my Ollie's.
Yeah, my Ollie's can beat up your Ollie's. They haven't had anything cool in a long time, but the last thing I bought, and I figure what the heck, since it can tie into Jack Kirby, I'll pull it up here. I'll pull a muscle too, but I'll pull the book up here. Because I'm always showing off the Ditko. Arg. But dude, if you are ever to read the Galactus Saga, I'm gonna full screen if you don't mind. If you are ever to read the Galactus Saga, read it in a book bigger than you are. This was the last cool thing my Ollie's had, and holy crap! You wanna see? Like you've never seen it before. Here you go. This is awesome.
you notice anything? The page you just happened to open up, it was Fantastic Four 74.
Yeah.
Did you happen to notice anything unusual about that cover?
That my back really hurts now? No. Oh, okay. What are we noticing?
Well, it should be pretty obvious.
You were gonna make me look.
Well, you already had the book open.
Well, I don't have it open now. I'm looking for the thing here. Numbers. I opened it to a random page.
Yeah, well, now I'm just doing that to annoy you.
Just dang it thing. Alrighty. When calls Galactus. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see. Okay, so what are we noticing that is different here?
What don't you see on that cover?
Fantastic Four.
There you go.
Yeah, except for in their little
that's when you know you're really, that's DC would have never been able to do that in that era, because that would have confused their prepubescent fan base, because they wouldn't have seen their heroes on the cover. And hell, some of their fans might have just got them from their parents to look at the pictures, but they were confident enough in that book to not put a single member on the cover. It's been done a lot since then, but I don't know if that had happened before that.
Yeah. Let's see. It's weird to describe anything in the 70s as silly. That's because the 70s is groovy. That is Austin P. Into Disguise. How long do you have to work out to read that monster? I know, right? It is a workout. But once again, if I've read these, I laid them out right in front of me on the bed and just kind of, I actually thought about like filming it with the camera and such. My gosh, it does throw out the shoulder there. Let's see. Watch Razor Fist. They are like not the original. They still publisher. This is the license of histories. Wait, what? What are you talking about? Oh, probably the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, man. Is that your new coffee table? It is, sir. Yes. There's a special wooden stand they make for oversized books like that. That would actually be kind of cool. Yeah. But no, that is great. That really is. I love it, because you and I both have complained about our eyesight and such, and there's no complaining with that book.
No, but here's the problem. By the time our eyes got too old to be able to read the fine print and they started making the books bigger, now we're not strong enough to lift them.
Yeah, there you go. Not without throwing out a back. All righty. Tell me, what's a better cover?
Between Avengers 4 or the two
and
number
anything.
Ones? Oh, the Avengers 4?
Yeah. Basically, I'm saying, we're talking about some good stories. What is the better cover? What is here, I think I got one. What's a better cover?
Avengers 4.
You think Avengers 4 is better than this?
Yes, because that Avengers 4 brought back the arguably most aspirational character. There you go, Professor Geek, in comics history.
I am not talking about the better book.
No. No, the better book is without question FF48 or 49. I mean, because we just did a retrospective of that Friday night. It's not a particularly strong issue, but the cover is just as iconic as it gets.
Okay, kids, let's hear it. What do you think? Jack Kirby covers. What's the best? And between he and I, what the ones that we showed off, what do you think is the best between number 4 and number 48 of Fantastic Four? And here's the New Gods.
Actually, it's 49 because 48's got the Watcher.
Yeah. Right. I knew it as soon as I said it. I always get some these days. I always am off by one for some reason. And then, of course, you've got the after Marvel stuff, like from Star Comics and the trade comics. What was it called? Tops.
As great as that cover was for Fantastic Four 49, Fantastic Four 50 is the most anticlimactic cover in the history of comics.
It is, really.
But then if you think about it, and I've mentioned this before on these streams, the so-called Galactus Trilogy is only 2 issues.
Yep.
Because they were still finishing up the Inhumans story in the first half of number 48 because Stan and Jack didn't care. If they ran out of pages before they ran out of story, they just picked it up in the next issue. And it ended about halfway through issue 50. So I mean, they got all that into 2 issues.
Do you notice what's missing here?
No.
Apparently, she was not born of woman.
Okay.
There's no belly button.
Oh, well, Jack did a lot of...
It's true, there wasn't.
But how many times do you see men's bare chests and you don't see the nipples?
Right. They kind of gloss over the nipples. There's no belly button.
Or maybe she's the mother of that, what was it, Kyle 2.0 series or whatever about the... What was that thing? His kid didn't, and the only way you could tell he wasn't a human is he didn't have a belly button.
Kyle X or something like that. Kyle XYZ. Yeah. My choice for best cover is Fighting America #1, says Frank. Frank Robert Johnson. Let's see. Me and Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko, John Buscema, John Romita. Good. These days are so great producers of comics. Yeah. Silver and 70s, man.
Yeah,
can't go wrong.
I get the feeling we've got a few people in this chat that might be closer to our age than...
My audience skews older. Actually, I do have a few young bucks out there, but yeah, I think we do. I find that the first version of the cover pretty dang striking, says Austin P. Let's see what we got. That kind of book needs a lectern to put on to read, says Maranya, that big-ass Fantastic Four book. Current series are solid through all that. They're still talking Turtles. No navel, no belly button. Yep. For our FF, I like 1675 and the annual number 1 and 2. Number 16. Let me see what we got going on here. Do you know that right off?
Dr. Doom and Ant-Man makes an appearance in it.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I actually had number 16 of the Fantastic Four on auction one time, and it like nobody bid on it. I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" Granted, it wasn't in the greatest of conditions, but it's freaking issue number 16 of Fantastic Four, and it wasn't getting bids. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I would have thought that would be a no-brainer, but yeah, go figure.
And the 2 annual covers are really, really cool. The first one's Submariner sitting on his throne, and then the second one's the Doctor Doom cover.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. Yeah, look, it's his birthday. Thank goodness we still have. One thing I said at the wake of George Perez. They were allowing people to go up and speak and, hey, what did George Perez mean to you and that kind of thing. And oh my gosh, it was such a funeral. It really was. And I was like, come on. I mean, we shouldn't. It's like I haven't come to bury Caesar. I came to celebrate or praise him, right? So I got up and I started talking about how awesome his artwork was, because of course, people who knew him were up there. I only met him once. I told the story of how I met him and everything. And I said, but the cool thing is for those of us who didn't know him, and I am, of course, one of them, for those of us, how we really knew him is still there. And this is the same as Jack Kirby. Been gone for 2 decades now. And the cool thing is,
8 years.
Yeah, through almost 3. And the cool thing is, if you want to know about Jack Kirby, great freaking books. If you want his art, great freaking books. And it's one thing that's really cool about this. We don't have to. Obviously, we're far and away out from mourning the death of Jack Kirby. At this point, it's all about celebration of life.
Now, Sheldon Walsh said outside the FF, Thor 161 through 169. And Jack already had a foot out the door by then because he already knew he was leaving. But that kind of leads me to anybody that hasn't read the Lee Kirby Thors, because everybody talks about Fantastic Four, and rightfully so. But the 3 books they seem to care about the most was Fantastic Four, Captain America, and Thor.
Mm-hmm.
The Thor, once they created, you get past the first 20, 25 issues, which puts you about Journey into Mystery 105, and they've brought in, Loki's established, Odin. They started adding to the mythos of Asgard. It's just incredible. From that point until even after Jack left, because he was replaced by Neil Adams and John Buscema. So the art certainly didn't suffer, but they're just incredible stories. And, as much as I said, Walt Simonson may have done the best, but he doesn't do what he does without Stan and Jack.
Yeah. That's
John Byrne on Fantastic Four.
Yeah. It all began with these two. Now, it would be nice. I think it would be nice if MCU just paid a little bit more respect. Hey, look, they're both dead this time at this point. Yeah. God rest Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. So, how about instead of a Stan Lee cameo, how about you just put a picture or reference to both of them in your movies? Which is something I think was sorely lacking in the first 20 movies is Jack Kirby cameos. It would have been kind of cool instead of a first appearance license plate, Kirby or JK something or other. Put that kind of thing up. Yeah.
So you're saying that would? I mean, they need to treat Disney legend Jack Kirby better.
Yeah. By the way, nothing rubbed me more the wrong way that day. We got all the tweets. Hey, Disney legend Jack Kirby, and a lot of people. It wasn't just me. A lot of people on that thread said fudge you, and I didn't use the word fudge. Yeah, it was. People were like, bullshit. The man died 20 years before the Disney deal was done, and you're claiming him as a Disney legend. Go yourself, seriously.
Wow, so cartoons, it turns out cartoons and comics isn't even 30 yet.
Oh, wow.
But
good on you, sir.
Uncle and Dad gave him some comics, and apparently one of them was Tales of Suspense 52. Venkman is seething somewhere.
Oh, that's Black Widow, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That not a bad book to get. Let's see. I have to ask, who stole the helmet? Dr. Polaris or Galactus? So who did it belong to first?
That's a good question. I would imagine Dr. Polaris probably appeared before Galactus.
Yeah, Green Lantern had a earlier appearance, didn't he?
Yeah, but I don't know if the helmet was quite as I don't know. That's a good question.
I think you're right, because he first appeared in a showcase, didn't he? Dr. Polaris? No, I'm thinking of the guy with the cross, the sound guy, not the magnet guy. I was thinking about the sound guy. I can't think of his name. He had the Ankh kind of looking device that fired. What the hell is his name? I was thinking about him, not Dr. Polaris. Let's see. I am $29.95 plus international shipping. Well, I have one cover by Jack Kirby, Tales. That's pretty sweet. A poster in the background with his picture. Yeah, something like that. Something like that would be pretty cool. They walk by a bookstore and there's like a book with him in that pose, I think it would be kind of cool. Let's put in some Jack Kirby and Stan Lee cameos. Shh, the bird is sleeping. He's finally looking cute. Okay, buddy. No. Do you think the bird knows it's on camera? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But yeah, this is when he really starts to look cute, and he turns his head around and he starts burying himself in the feathers. He's a little bit more calmed down. You see how puffy he is? That's a calm and relaxed bird. He's not all stretched out, and he's probably about to poop on me. That's just a thing. Don't forget the Jack Kirby ongoing magazine still being published.
The
by
Kirby
tomorrow.
collector.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got here. That would mean that if Disney did give him more credit, they would be liable for his work more so than they are now, says Frank. Yeah, maybe that's why they don't. The bird knows about the camera. It also knows Z won't let him let me shoot him. That is true. He's just taunting you. He's showing you his ass. Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's going to sleep right now. But when he turns his head around and he kind of buries his head in his feathers, that's when he's really out. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I've grown to like this dumbass thing. The bird too. Sorry, there. Had to take the shot.
He's here all week, folks.
Speaking of headgear, Kirby's design for Hela was spectacular. Yeah, one video that we have over at Old Man Comics, I'll bring it over here onto this channel, is top 10 Kirby designs. And Hela got brought up. But what do you say? Top 10 Kirby designs. Name a couple. What do you think?
Good question.
I'll start it off because it's very simple. Armor and a tunic. And freaking iconic as hell, man. Dr. Doom is so freaking simple. That's awesome.
You know?
On the other hand, the X-Men are so freaking simple. I don't think they're awesome.
I've always loved Thor's original costume.
Thor's original with the big,
with the four, circles.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that they, went completely away from that. And most comic fans under 40, if they don't read a lot of back issues, never knew that it was like that.
Yeah. How about, in all honesty, I got to say, Mr. Miracle's outfit. I've always dug his costume. I would put him in my top 10.
Okay, armor and a tunic. What would you call that getup Darkseid wears?
Just a tunic. Tunic and boots. Yeah.
I mean, I think I've always liked the way he looked. I mean, he's like, if you brought a fire hydrant to life, it would be.
There you go. Yeah, but if you think about it, he's only wearing a tunic. He is, he's swinging big under that thing, and that's probably why it's like, I am Darkseid. I will now you. Okay, it's just.
Why do you think all those what the hell are they called? Big Barda in that group?
Female Furies.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Why do you think they're so willing to bake for him?
There you go. Also, you want to talk simplicity and design? Silver Surfer.
Oh yeah,
he's got to be in there somewhere. The Darkseid is partial to Roman fashion. Who rocks the nakedness better, Silver Surfer or Dr. Manhattan? Silver Surfer. He's got the Ken doll. I don't have to look at his, and that's yeah. So let's see. They did the same thing in Earth's Mightiest Heroes. He had Kirby design in season 1. Then they made him more MCU like. Earth's Mightiest Hero. Oh, the Dr. Doom, or so I would suppose. Captain America would have to be in there. I mean, it's holy crap. So, by the way, guys, if you want to tap into this, because we're just spouting off right here. Great designs.
Hulk.
The Hulk, just basically Hulk.
Pair of rip pants. I mean, yes.
A pair of rip pants. Yeah. What are we gonna put on him? Big headdress? No, just pair of pants. That's it. Just pair of purple pants. We're gonna go with it. That'll be fine. Yeah. Now you're just like, let's just talk about all the half-naked heroes that Jack Kirby drew. Wow. Never really thought about it. Even Big Barda. Big Barda was a freaking bikini for a while. So God bless him there. Yeah, he drew a lot of half-naked characters, didn't he? What's up with that? I was talking about Thor for the Earth's Mightiest Heroes thing. Oh, okay. Silver Surfer's wearing silver trunks. Look at the character design. Yeah, I know. He's got trunks. For Cartoon Comics, Dr. Doom, Thor, Titanium Man, not bad. Red Crimson, kind of the same. Mr. Miracle and Orion, I love those, but Captain America is the best. Yeah, I might have to agree with you with Captain America. I mean, it is obviously it stood the test of time. You know, I think that kid's going places.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't read Captain America in years. I mean, is it still reasonably close to the way it looked? Or
I don't know. For a while, he was Captain Puerto Rico. What you gonna do? Doomsday isn't Kirby, but what the hell are his shorts made out of? They never get damaged. That's true. Yeah, it's one thing for him to like never get damaged, but his clothes never do either. Namor has either red or green, scale it green, depending on the colors. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was actually one thing my Ollies had. It's like, holy crap. When I saw that, I was like, I gotta hide this until I get money. I really did that too. I hid this book until until I got money for it.
Now, Submariner was Bill Everett, right?
Yeah. But my Ollies had the Golden Age of Submariner omnibus for $40.
That is really, really cool.
And yeah, I was like, okay, I hid this thing until I could go back and buy it. Some good stuff here. So, yeah. Anywho, guys, what else can we say? What else can we say? Because otherwise, I guess it's time. At least he changes undies. Yeah, right. He didn't do the Gilligan thing and just wear the same thing over and over. Anywho, guys, thanks for hanging out with us to talk about Jack Kirby and apparently other things. Got to put Twiddles in the cage. He's out for the world here for a little bit. Well, maybe not. They're gonna come home. And you can hang out with them, you know, with Mama. Yeah, okay. I read Aquaman 2 will cover climate change. I wonder how much. I'm noticing something here where they say something stupid like that, where it makes people go, "Here we go," and then it's mentioned once or twice. But
although if the star has his way, it will be the movie. Because Jason Momoa he is just way far that away.
Yeah.
At this point, and
what you gonna do? All right. Once again, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. Kirby is king. Unlike Harry Styles, he is actually the king of what we're saying he's king of. And it's a lot of fun to talk about the stuff here. And once again, if you get a chance, I recommend looking for a book called Kirby, the King of Comics. And this was just a lot of fun. If you want to this one basically tells the story, but it's more about the art. This is the story with a lot of art, better book. Give them a shot. Think you'll enjoy them. Thanks. If you don't mind helping out the channel, we got a Ko-Fi link in the description below. Just go drop $1 in the chat. That being said, what you really can do to help out the channel is please like, share, and comment to get that algorithm started. Doing well, actually, after finding out that, yes, putting out videos every day does help. But if you click and comment and share, that would be a big help as well. So thank you very much for hanging out with us. And as always, thank you very, very much for watching. Have a good night.
Good night, kids.